Hi, I'm Charlie Smith, and today I am here with Mary Maguire, spokesperson for AAA Northeast. Awesome to have you here today.
Hey, it's great to be here, Charlie. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for coming. And what is new with AAA? I know that there's some new laws that have passed. There's a slow down, move over campaign that's on right now. So what's going on with AAA?
Sure. So the Slow Down Move Over campaign is a campaign that we launched last year to try to protect emergency responders at the roadside. So the law in Massachusetts actually dates back to 2009, and the law essentially says that if you see an emergency responder, police, firefighter, EMT, utility vehicle, tow truck driver working at the roadside, you need to either move over to the next adjacent lane if it's safe to do so, and if it's not safe to do so, you need to slow down. You need to curb your speed as you pass that person working at the side of the road. Our mantra is help protect those who protect you. And the law, again, has been in effect for more than a decade now, but we find that people are still not paying enough attention. We're still seeing emergency responders injured at the roadside. So the basic message is if you see red, yellow, or blue lights at the roadside, slow down or move over. Move over preferably. If you can't do that, to give them a little bit more of a buffer zone to do their important work, then you need to slow down to protect them. Just imagine if you or I, let's pretend this is our office, it really is your office, Charlie, and imagine if we had people whizzing by here next to the stage at 65 or 70 miles an hour, how we would feel. So that's the kind of vulnerability that our emergency responders have at the roadside, and that's why we launched this campaign. We actually had two tow truck drivers who were injured in the last 2 years. One in Connecticut, Jay Link, was seriously injured, and then Ken Young, who we'll see in the public service announcement that I know you're going to screen for us, was injured in Rhode Island, and he was gravely injured. He was hit by a hit-and-run driver who catapulted him 133 feet and left him in the road. And so Ken is really incredible. He's amazing. He's making a remarkable recovery. And we obviously try to be as supportive as we can to our drivers. And we want to make sure that what happened to Ken Young doesn't happen to any of our other tow truck drivers at AAA. And we don't want it to happen to any of our emergency responders, police, firefighters, EMTs, because again, they're out there doing their important and very risky work to protect all of us. So we want to try to protect them. So that's what the Slow Down Move Over campaign is all about.
Well, it's really important, and I actually saw an extended interview that Ken Young had done, and it's such a he just asks for compassion, really, and it's really it's so sad what happened to him, and it's great that you guys are taking initiative to try to get people to pay attention to the flashing lights. That's the whole point of the flashing lights on the road. That's wild that people don't really pay attention.
Yeah, and we find that that's the easiest way to explain it. If you see red, yellow, or blue lights at the side of the road, that's your cue to immediately slow down and then to try to maneuver over to that center lane in most cases, or that next adjacent lane in most cases. So that's the message that we're trying to spread, and Ken has been a wonderful ambassador for us, as has Jay Link. We actually have put together public service announcements in all parts of our territory. So the Massachusetts PSA, which you are kind enough to be running for us, also ran on Channel 5, Channel 4, WBZ, and NBC 10 Boston. And so you may have already seen it, or some of your viewers may have already seen it out there. But Sam Kennedy, President and CEO of the Boston Red Sox, was kind enough to lend his voice to the PSA, in addition to our driver and the Mass State Police. And we actually have two versions that the Mass State Police helped us create. One is with Lieutenant Donald Lasardo, who appears in the PSA that we'll see in just a moment. And then we also have Sergeant Luis De Jesus, who did a fantastic job. Trooper De Jesus did just a wonderful job, nailed it on the first take, giving us a PSA in fluent Spanish. So,
fantastic.
So I think that's really a nice addition to the lineup of PSAs. And we also recreated these PSAs in Rhode Island with the Rhode Island State Police, in New York with New York State Police, and with a famous Yankee former slugger, Cecil Fielder in New York. So, and with the Connecticut Sound Tigers as our sports figure in Connecticut. So we've got a whole array of these that we are putting on the air now, and hopefully they will have the desired effect of getting drivers to pay attention, slow down, and move over.
That's smart to have the Yankees just in New York and the Red Sox just here. You
That's
don't
right.
want to mix those up. So
right.
let's take a look at the PSA.
The Boston Red Sox join with AAA and law enforcement in reminding our fans to slow down or move over when you see emergency vehicles on the side of the road. It's the law.
Emergency service providers like me are on the road to protect you, so please slow down and move over. Our lives depend on it.
First responders are killed or injured on our highways every year. Help protect those who protect you. Remember to slow down and move over. It's the law.
That is a fantastic piece, and I'm glad that it's available in Spanish as well. That's great.
Yeah, I think the broader the audience we can reach, the better. And so that's why we really wanted to have Trooper de Jesus do the Spanish-speaking version, and he did a terrific job. So we're very happy about that. And again, hopefully people get the message to slow down and move over when they see those red, yellow, or blue lights.
And is that separate from the new distraction law that was passed?
It is, yeah. But you know, it's a great segue because people are distracted, and so they don't see those red, yellow, or blue lights or those emergency responders working at the roadside. So we have a new law that was passed and signed by the governor just before Thanksgiving in Massachusetts, and that is the distracted driving law, which bans all handheld use of cell phones in the car, in your vehicle. And so this takes effect February 23rd. From February 23rd to March 31st, we will only be doing, or I should say police will only be writing warnings to drivers. After that, police will be writing citations as of April 1st. So good for drivers to know that, to know the timetable of this. And, you know, this is a law that we worked very hard at AAA for many years to pass. We also had a tremendous group of advocates, people who had lost loved ones, who really were the driving force behind final passage of this new law. And so we have Emily Stein, who lost her father, Howard. We have Jerry Sibley, who lost his son, Jordan. We have the Levitans, who lost their daughter, Tom Branley, who lost his daughter, Katie. So a number of families, and those are just a few. There are many more advocates who worked on this effort to get this bill passed into law. And so I feel like this is really a tribute to them and a tribute to their lost loved ones. And they worked so hard, and it was really my privilege to work with them to get this bill passed into law. So the bill signing was terrific. We had about 150 people. What people need to know, what drivers need to know, is that if they already cannot talk hands-free in their cars, a lot of people have Apple CarPlay or Bluetooth, and they already are able to talk hands-free. If you're not able to talk hands-free in your car, you need to think about retrofitting your car or configuring your phone so that you are able to talk hands-free, because the law basically only allows one touch to activate a phone call and one touch to deactivate or end the phone call. So you really have to have everything all set up ahead of time. There are lots of ways to do this. For example, if you have Siri, you can say, "Hey Siri, call Charlie," which is completely hands-free. Simply use your smartphone to do it. The other thing that people need to know that's important is that we all rely on GPS. I certainly was relying on it to get here this morning. And if you are using GPS, you cannot manipulate your GPS or tweak your GPS or do anything like that while driving. You have to have your GPS programmed and ready to go before you drive out of your driveway. So what's important to know is that you can use the GPS device, but it has to be mounted properly, which means it has to be on your windshield, your dashboard, or your center console. And you can look at it, you can view the GPS obviously while you're driving, but you cannot tweak it at all. You can't manipulate it at all. So I think that's the other important thing for drivers to know about this new law. First offense, $100 fine. Second offense, $250 fine, and a requirement to take a distracted driving course, which most likely will be administered by the Registry of Motor Vehicles as an online program. And third offense, $500 and a possible insurance surcharge. So that third offense can get very expensive. So we want to make sure everybody pays attention, knows the basic rules of the new law. And, you know, this is a law that can really save lives because smartphones have become such a potent distraction on our roadways. We all see it every day. We say at AAA, you know, smartphone use and people looking at phones and texting. has become an epidemic on our roadways en masse.
It really is scary when you're driving and you kind of see over in the other lane and somebody's just texting. I'm like, what are you doing? Like, you need to be driving the car. It's terrifying.
I know. Isn't it scary? It's especially terrifying when you see someone who's cruising down the left-hand lane, the high-speed lane, going 65, 70 miles an hour looking at a phone. And I've seen that more times than I can count, and it's pretty scary. So people need to remember that their first responsibility when they get into the car and get behind the wheel is to themselves, their own safety, the safety of their passengers, and the safety of everyone else on the roadway. And not driving distracted, drowsy, or drunk means that you're showing respect for the safety and well-being of your fellow travelers out there on the roadways. And we're not just talking about our fellow drivers, we're talking about pedestrians, we're talking about cyclists, all road users. So a number of those advocates I mentioned lost loved ones who were in crosswalks, who were on bikes. So we really have to have our eyes scanning the road at all times for all road users, and that means you cannot be distracted by your phone. So we're hoping this new law will really make a difference.
It's so sad that people who experience such tragedy were the driving force behind this, but it's really good that they're going to try to make it safer for everybody else from here on out.
It is, and I think that the advocates did so much important work, and I think that legislators really pay attention, and I think the public really pays attention when someone speaks from the heart and tells a real life story about a loved one they've lost, whether it be a father, a mother, a child, a sibling. It really makes a difference. So I think that's one of the reasons why the advocates did such a great job and were so convincing. On the happy side and the fun side, we have a great event coming up not too far from Acton in the near future. So it's the first weekend in March 6th, 7th, and 8th. Our AAA Travel Marketplace will be held at Gillette Stadium. So this is a 3-day event, starts at 2 o'clock on Friday. We always have people lined up and ready to head in, anxious to head in. I think everybody feels like it's sort of the start of spring and they want to kick up their heels. But this is a 3-day exposition, if you will, dedicated to all things travel. So we have hundreds of vendors there, hundreds of exhibitors who are there. We do dozens of seminars about travel in the course of the 3 days. And if people want to get a nice bird's eye view of the football field at Gillette, if you've never been there and you want to see what the field looks like.
I'm going to have to bring my mom. She will be thrilled.
Oh, she would love
Yes.
it, absolutely. And it's very inexpensive. It's $3 for AAA members, $5 for non-members. So it's a great way to spend one of your weekend days, or a great way to spend your Friday afternoon. A lot of people come, take in the travel show, and then they'll go to Patriot Place and have dinner or something like that. So you could do that with your mom,
awesome.
Charlie. And it's just a great way to learn about everything from a round-the-world cruise to a trip to Australia, to what's in your backyard, a trip to Algonquin, Maine, or down to Newport, Rhode Island, or out to California, or to the Grand Canyon. So it's all there, it's all covered. The vendors have a lot of great giveaways and raffles. People walk out with 2 AAA tote bags full of all sorts of goodies. So it really is a fun experience, and we would really encourage everybody who's interested in travel or thinking about taking a trip, or if you want to learn more about an African safari, or going to Pearl Harbor in Hawaii, whatever it is, between our exhibitors, our terrific AAA travel experts and travel agents and travel service counselors, and our seminar presenters. There's really a lot to learn, and it's a fun experience.
I've actually driven across the country, like I want to say like 9 times now.
Wow.
To California, and I've had, before I leave every time, I make sure my AAA membership's good to go, and I've had to use it. We got stuck like in the middle of the desert, like it was very terrifying, and thank God I was able to be like, come help us, and they did, and it was great.
Oh,
And
that's fantastic.
We narrowly avoided a scary pit stop, but I feel like we should start a travel show. I feel like you and I would be great hosts for a travel show together.
Well, you should be a presenter if you've driven across the country 9 times.
I have. It's really, I really like the trip back and forth even more than when I get to my destination. It's just so much fun to see different rest stops and whatever else, and the AAA membership helps a lot with all kinds of like discounts along the way and everything.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's really cool.
Yeah, the discount platform is fantastic.
Yeah.
You know, everything from museums to hotels, motels, Rentham outlets.
That alone makes it worth it for the membership.
Absolutely.
But like when you have a flat tire in the middle of Utah.
Is that what happened?
Yeah.
I was going to ask if you ran out of gas.
No,
Okay.
no. We had a flat tire in the middle of the desert. Yeah, terrifying. But yeah, thank you so much for being here today.
Oh, it was great to be with you, Charlie. Thanks for having me.